Hey, and welcome to Discard. Today we're going to talk about a few different ways that you can display your Amiibo. Let's check it out. So right off the bat, let's say it took a lot of trial and error. I was trying putting these Amiibo in very odd locations, trying to see if they would fit in with their surroundings, seeing if they would fit in front of games or on shelves properly. It took a lot of figuring out. But in the end, I came up with a short list of different things that I ended up liking. And the first one being the shelf. The shelf is a very viable method. Putting it on the shelf, as long as it doesn't get on there and look too messy and you don't bunch all your Amiibo together, it looks very nice. If you're an opener of your Amiibo, then having them loose out there looks pretty good on a shelf as long as there's something else on the shelf. If it's kind of like a big open, 75% of your shelf is still open, then it doesn't look so good. It seems like your Amiibo is kind of just sitting at the bottom of a shelf that's meant for nothing. But having an Amiibo on a shelf is perfectly viable, especially when they're in the box. They look really nice and crispy up there, and you can line them all up and put your favorite ones on there. Unfortunately, if you are an in-box collector, that takes up an immense amount of space from you on your shelf that could be used by games or collectibles or whatever. So that's just one of those methods. I would say check that out. The next method that I figured out was the spice stand. A spice stand with steps on it is a perfectly viable method for having your Amiibo when they're outside of their box and having a nice little stand for them to go on where you can see all of them because of the steps that go onto there. I chose one that was clear acrylic, and it really fits in with the rest of the things that I have. Most of my stands I try to get are acrylic or clear plastic, and so that way I have something that it kind of uniformly ties everything together. A kind of weird display idea that I came up with was the Lazy Susan, which is kind of a turntable that you can put your spices or whatever on, and you can turn it around, and that way you can put it into a relatively small space and pick things off of it by turning it. Now, putting the Amiibo on it works just the same. You put all your Amiibo on there, all your unboxed Amiibo into this location, and it can fit right into a shelf, and then you just turn it to pull out whichever Amiibo that you need. But they're all there. I mean, a lot of your Amiibo are going to be there. Some of you have bigger collections than others, but this will fit a lot of Amiibo and allow you to have access to them without them taking up so much room in your game collection and taking away that room from your games. In my search of eBay and Amazon, I came across Acrylic Risers, and Acrylic Risers are really cool tools for displaying. I think they use them a lot in jewelry and other kind of collectibles. They put them up on these stands, and you'll see them in stores a lot of the time. But they're kind of a cool way to kind of separate out your collection. You can put an Amiibo on top and underneath or whatever, but you can put it in front of games and still have your Amiibo stick out pretty well. And it looks really nice. Now, my absolute favorite for open Amiibo is the floating shelf. Having a floating shelf is really nice. It looks great in a collection. You can put those floating shelves anywhere up on your wall, and this way you're not dedicating your shelf space or anything to your Amiibo. You have your floating shelf on the wall, and it works great. They come in a bunch of different sizes. Some that are just as thin as the Amiibo's base, so that it's literally only taking up that amount of space. I chose some acrylic shelves that are easy to put up and have just screw holes. You can put screws in and they stick up on the wall and look really nice, but it's larger than the base of the Amiibo because I didn't want to commit to the Amiibo being the only thing I could put on that shelf. I want to be able to put collectibles or what have you on there, and the particular ones I actually got do fit the entire boxed Amiibo as well. And that's just another good feature there. But I wanted to leave my options open, and still that's my favorite way to display them, and that'll probably be the only way I display them other than kind of scattering them throughout the collection. And the last way that I've chosen to display my Amiibo is the almighty Thumbtack. This little tiny Thumbtack goes a long way when displaying in-box Amiibo. A lot of Amiibo collectors do this, where they will put their Amiibo on the wall, and you put a Thumbtack in the little spot that it would be hanging on the shelf, and you can easily just organize them, and they take up the shelf, and they will only come out as far as the Amiibo box comes out. That's something to keep in mind. If you get some of these bigger Amiibo You know, you're not going to be able to put those on the wall necessarily because it'll stick out or it just looks funky. But for the most part, the inbox Amiibo look great and orderly on the shelf when you put a Thumbtack in there and you just organize them out. So all my inboxed Amiibo, for the most part, are on my wall over here, and I also have a bunch of inboxed Amiibo on my top shelf back there that I've decided to display back there. They're my favorite Amiibo that go up on there. But the rest go on the wall, and they're great decoration and look great. So that's just a few different ways that you can display your Amiibo around your collection or game room. If you have another suggestion, please leave it down in the comments. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you like what's going on here. Otherwise, have a great day and collect what you love.